So we happen to be in the middle of the first snowpocalypse of the year. Substantial winter storm hitting most of the Great Lakes region, Midwest, everything else. Power outages. Fortunately, we still have some. But before I get into the topic of fixing what is wrong with Congress, particularly the House of Representatives, I just want to say I hope that this shooter is brought to justice. But there's currently an active shooter um, at a children's birthday party in Stockton, California. And yeah, this is should be probably be getting more news and more attention, but it's just kind of a common thing that happens nowadays. Yeah, look, it's not even like really an article at this point. I know Gavin Newsom came out and said something, um, but the suspect is not in custody yet. It does appear that it was targeted. So there was a reason they were targeting this birthday party at an ice cream parlor, no less. So uh, hopefully that they catch this guy quickly and throw him under the jail and to where he can never be found again. Just my thought on that matter. Um, Also, in breaking news, Donald Trump went golfing. I guess that's not really news. He did. I did see a video, and I don't know if it's fake or not, of him chipping in just an amazing pitch pitch shot. I mean, just off the fringe of the green, knocked it right in. Good 20 25 footer probably. There was also this from Donald Trump, which no, it's not the final Maverick score. Although that was also a tragedy. What's going on with the Clippers is frankly just I have no words. This one, this guy, leader of the free world, at brunch. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with him, and certainly this photo appears to be real. But I have seen similar looks when I've uh, volunteered at nursing homes or visited family members who were there to help them out and make sure they're being taken care of. I have seen all of that. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying I'm familiar with that face. Now, getting into the crux of the video, how do we fix the House? I know there's a lot of calls for abolishing the Electoral College, and frankly, that is way more difficult than really what needs to be done to fix the House of Representatives. I think part of the problem we have, is particularly in the House of Representatives, is that each representative represents roughly 750,000 constituents, almost a million people. And if you know any of the old Greek, dead Greek philosophers, no, I've gone many days since thinking about the Roman Empire. Trust me. Uh, but old Greek philosophers used to believe that anything over 30,000 people was ungovernable, and it was that sentiment that the founders and the writers of the Constitution took to that, and that each member can represent no less than 30,000 people. They can represent more, and that's where we ran into some issues. They probably should have been a little more specific. So that portion of the Constitution has never been amended and never been overwritten. However, we did, and I'm going to use AI. Um, it's not. I understand AI can be wrong, but in this case, it condenses things nicely, just for the sake of expediency. Because ain't nobody wanting me to, you know, sit around and find graphics and shit. So the House Apportionment Act in 1911 is what effectively capped the House of Representatives at 435 members. And then every 10 years, And I bring this up because of the reapportionment fight. Every 10 years after the census, the House seats are reapportioned based on population. No state can go below one representative. So this was the Permanent Reapportionment Act of 1929. It locked the House at 435 members, and then those 435 members get redivided based on population shift in the census. So what that has done is that as the population has expanded, each representative represents more constituents. Now, as we all know at this point, the Electoral College is each state's share of the Electoral College is a function of its two senators and how many House members it has. That's the sum total of a state's worth or vote in the Electoral College. So by capping the House at 435 members, we're essentially capping the number of Electoral College votes that can be used to elect a president. Now, we are also, I would say, distancing members of Congress from their constituents. So each one of them represents almost a million people. That's almost impossible to actually keep into meaningful contact or to even really know the needs of your constituency. So there is I know there's this huge thing of abolish the Electoral College, um, but I think that's the wrong way to do it. The Electoral College is there for a reason. As crazy as it seems, it is there. My preferred method is merely, and this is much easier, doesn't require an amendment or anything, is to get rid of the Reapportionment Act and uncap the House of Representatives. I think if we lower the number of constituents each member represents, they are more directly re- reactive to the people that they represent. And that way they're more directly responsible to the people that they represent. And what works and what is necessary for certain states is certainly not true for others. That is a number that where they're still responsive to their constituents' needs. Because a representative that represents farm country Idaho is going to be much different from and have different needs from a representative that represents uh, Maryland, Baltimore area. And if the goal of a member in the House of Representatives is to represent his people, his district, or their district, I should say, then perforce they have to be reactive to them. They have to be able to know what their constituency wants. And at a million people, that's impossible. There's too many competing interests. And then we get to the other part of that, which if you uncap the House, you have to obviously expand the House. Now, we can do that in several ways. The apportionment size in the original Constitution was one representative for every 30,000. If we did that, we'd have almost 11,000 representatives or more. That's probably unwieldy. The most one is I've seen is one representative per 100,000 people, and at that point we have about 6,000 representatives. I think that's actually not a bad number. That's representative of how big we are as a country. It's still it's bipartisan. There's going to be areas that get more Republican representatives. There's going to be areas that are more Democratic. But, and here's one key feature, is it opens up the House to third parties. It's much easier for a third party to get votes and get representatives into Congress if if their district is 100,000 people. There could be groups of people that want representatives that more represent their beliefs. And when you look at the national parties, they have competing interests that are not national. They're not responsive to individual districts. So that opens the door to third party candidates. Now, the way the electoral college is obviously going to lock everything into kind of a two-party system, or at least two candidate system. But at least in the House, the people's House, you might be able to get third parties that will keep the Democrats and Republicans honest. That would be the goal anyway. And this is a much easier solution, and I think a much better solution for society in general than getting rid of the electoral college. Anyway, please hit like and subscribe. Drop a comment. I know this is actually one of those things that not many people know about. It's rather obscure, and it is a fix that most people don't know might be there. We just think, oh, that's the number that, House of Representatives. That's what they are. That's the number there is. It doesn't have to be that way. In fact, it was never intended to be that way. So, you know what? If you like this idea, please make a comment. Please hit like and subscribe. Please share this video. Maybe we can, get more of a movement going to get rid of the House Apportionment Act. Thanks, YouTube. Talk to you later.